Should I turn towards you a bit? Yes.
Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Hong Kong at SmartCon 2024 by Chainlink. Joining me for this segment, we have Alex Tang, Head of Institutions, APAC MENA at Aptos Labs. We're here to discuss accelerating the future of Web3. Alex, it is great to have you with us. Welcome to TradeTalks.
Pleasure.
Yes, and it's great to be here in Hong Kong. Thank you so much for hosting us. Tell us about Aptos, where you fit within the blockchain ecosystem, and Aptos Ascend.
Great. So Aptos is a high-performance layer 1 public blockchain created by the initial DM team at Meta, and it's built kind of to empower and enable global money movement at scale. So that's what Aptos is. Now Aptos Labs, Aptos Ascend is a business unit within Aptos Labs that I lead, and we are kind of dedicated to co-creating the future of open finance with our ecosystem partners that are mostly institutions. So the way we do it is we harness the cutting edge capabilities of the network, and then Aptos Ascend wants to kind of create more public permission blockchain solutions that can then help our FI partners kind of unlock more use cases. And one of the key examples, for instance, is to bring more assets on chain, and in order to enable to do that, we do need to unlock first more fully compliant forms of tokenized money first, right? So we're kind of working on the foundation level, and then we're working upwards so that in the next 2 or 3 years we can have more and more inflow of institutional capital. Yeah.
What are some of the significant announcements that you've had this year at Aptos? Because there has been a string of them.
Yeah, I would like to highlight two. I think the first one is a very recent one that we had with Franklin Templeton. I think that the BenGM in the tokenized money market fund being live on Aptos, I think speaks volume. We've come a very long way. I think we're a relatively new ecosystem, and I think that to see such a leader in the space, be able to actually launch it and see it fully operational speaks volumes to the tech, the team, and the trust that we have in them and them in us. And so we hope to kind of work with them closely to help them increase their AUM from 450, I think 500 million to hopefully a lot more. The second one I want to highlight is Project EHKD Plus. So because we're in Hong Kong, so that's the one I'm going to mention because it's very special to me as a Hong Konger. Project EHKD Plus is led by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and what they aim to do is to explore innovative use cases with their EHKD, which is a retail CBDC, and tokenized deposits. And we were actually one of 21 companies to be selected, and we are the only public blockchain company to be in that group. Yeah. And the other 20 participants are essentially banks and asset managers and payment companies, right? So I think that's really a proof of how long we've come.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know how hard it is to work with a regulator, and especially in Hong Kong, because we know that they are extremely sophisticated, very rigorous, very cutting edge. And so to be able to build that trust in the tech and in the team, and to allow us, to be part of that is really just a major achievement for us.
It's phenomenal overall. I want to learn more about your background, because before working at Aptos Labs, you were head of crypto at Metaverse in banking in the Middle East and Middle East at Boston Consulting Group.
Yes.
What drew your interest to the Web3 space?
Yes, so I was always part of FI. When I looked into blockchain, it was mainly just private blockchains, and it was just kind of central banks talking to each other. I think with time, we quickly soon realized we went from private blockchains to consortium blockchains, and then kind of it was a no-brainer that the future was going to be public permission. And so it felt like a very natural transition. So I went from, kind of understanding how do we unlock more potential for the financial industry to, okay, now I realize that this is the tech that's going to enable it. So the transition from, the consulting to Aptos kind of made sense, and because it was a great tech and a great team. And well, of course, our founder has that vision to kind of unlock potential for the financial industry. So that was a match, and here I am.
It's so interesting. I feel like even my reporting, I never thought in a million years that I coming from traditional finance and then reporting on this space and how quickly it has evolved, I think is really quite impressive. So when you think about what's next for Aptos, what opportunities are you seeing for Aptos and then the industry overall?
So I'll start with Aptos. I think we're continuing to work on Ascend, continue to grow our ecosystem and bring more assets on chain. I think that's for sure is a main focus. As I said, I believe that in order to have more tokenized assets on chain, you need fully compliant forms of tokenized money. And so, for instance, our partners locally here in Hong Kong, IDA or RD Technologies, are working with the regulators to kind of issue a fully regulated stablecoin. I think having that live is going to help that, right? So that's one thing. And in terms of industry trends, we actually just published a white paper with BCG and Invesco earlier this week.
Know Invesco very well.
Exactly, and so it's entitled, asset tokenization of funds, the third revolution decoded. So I welcome the viewers to kind of have a read. It's a very insightful piece, and in it we predict that by 2030 we're actually going to see more than 600 billion US of tokenized funds on chain, and so we're very, very, very bullish.
It's interesting when you have an issuer like Invesco is part of that paper. So if that's any insight into
exactly
where you think the
so
industry's
we hope to bring the conversation to exchange more between Web3 and TradFi. And hopefully more people like myself can join the industry and really make that transition happen. Yeah.
I appreciate the insight. Thanks so much for joining us on
Thank
Trade
you.
Talks. And thanks for joining me from SmartCon. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.